specifically for Daniel to get him in trouble or get him to go against his God, whichever one happened. But Daniel was smart. So they came up with this law. Everybody heard of Daniel going in the lion's den. We don't know. Most people don't know why he went in. He went in there for praying the way he prayed. And he even doing it openly. But go ahead, verse 8.
Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not.
Verse 9.
Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree.
So he did sign the writing. He didn't know. He really liked Daniel. He didn't know what they was up to. Verse 10.
Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed.
See, now Daniel, it wasn't no shock to Daniel. I mean, they didn't consult him. But of course he heard about it. You know, when they make a new law, they'll let you know. So man is known for making laws that might conflict with God. Daniel didn't care about that. So when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, what did he do?
He went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime.
See, he knew they came up with this new law for him, but he didn't care. You know, he wasn't in the open square or outside nowhere, but he gonna do him some praying when he get home, because that's where your prayer should be at. We have a congregational prayer. That's the extent of our prayer in here, but your real praying should be done at home, because that's what it is. It's between you and your God. That's why when people say, well, how's your prayer like? None of your business, really. I can tell you about praying in general. But now we've been having some buzzing up here all day in one of these floor monitors or something. But now he said, at verse 10, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime. So Daniel didn't change a beat even with the new law. He went home, shut his door, but he prayed 3 times a day. And the Bible says he prayed toward Jerusalem. Why did he do that? Because, again, he was in tune with God's will. He knew God's will. He knew it was about his kingdom, and he knew Jerusalem is ultimately the capital of God's kingdom. Just like Jesus told you to pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven, right? That's what we should be looking forward to. That has to be at the forefront. That's why he ended with, thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. David knew about the kingdom. So Daniel knew, that's why he knew that's the capital, so he faced Jerusalem. Like we face Jerusalem when we say our congregational prayer. People think we are a cult because we do that. Well, Daniel did it. People accept Daniel as a prophet. Well, he must have been in the cult then. Now, we in line with what Daniel did when we do that, because he faced Jerusalem 3 times a day. See, you ain't got to stay on your knees all day. Lord knows you got other stuff to do, but you should take some time out and put your attention and honor God. But now, skip down to verse 16. Now read verse 11 first. I'm sorry.
Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God.
See, now they set this up for him, so of course they caught him praying and making supplication before God, so they snitched on him because that's what it was all about. So now skip down to verse 16 and read that, because they called him, they turned him in, and what happened?
Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions.
Now the king didn't want to do it. He tried to come up with a loophole, because the king knew Daniel was straight. He knew Daniel was right, and the king was halfway right. But they had tricked him, and wasn't nothing he can do once he made that law. He tried. He tried to come up with a loophole. He said all the way to sundown, he was looking for, trying to come up with something to get Daniel out of that. But he couldn't. He said, then the king commanded, they brought Daniel to put him in the den of lions. Go ahead, finish 16. Now the king.
Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee.
See, the king even told Daniel, look, your God will deliver you. He didn't know for sure, because when he got there the next morning, he called Daniel, did your God save you? But he had hope. He had some hope anyway. But go ahead. Skip down. So they put him in there. The king said, look, your God will save you. Verse 22, when the king got there the next morning, this is what Daniel said. Go ahead.
My God hath sent his angel and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me. And also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt.
See, when the king got there, he said, Daniel, was your God able to save you? Daniel said, man, my God done shut these lions' mouths. They haven't done nothing. Now here it is, Daniel got saved in the lion's den, and he was praying Jerusalem, so it can't be nothing wrong with that. Can't be nothing wrong with that. So he said, he shut the lion's mouth because I'm innocent. I haven't done nothing wrong. Verse 23, go ahead.
Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God.
Because he believed in his God. And what did he believe? He believed no matter what, he was going to pray to God, and he did it 3 times a day. How? Facing Jerusalem. So that's another basic. People think you crazy because you face the holy city, but Daniel and we know that that's God's will. And that's what it needs to be about. That's what we need to know. But now let's go further. Go to Matthew, the 5th chapter. Let's see if Jesus got any preference for Jerusalem. Matthew 5. Matthew 5. Let me fix that. Matthew 5. And verse 34. Go ahead.
But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne. Nor by the earth, for it is his footstool. Neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king.
Now Jesus said it here. He said, don't swear at all by heaven or earth. Don't swear by heaven, that's God's throne. He said, don't swear by the earth. That's his footstool. Then he said at the end of 35, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. It's the city of the great king, he said. So Jesus knew the importance of Jerusalem just like Daniel. Daniel prayed that way 3 times a day. Jesus even told you don't swear by it. So nothing has changed with God's will, with you focusing on his kingdom coming to this earth, and his will being done in earth as it is in heaven. And Jerusalem is going to be the capital. Jesus is going to reign for Jerusalem. That's why he said don't swear by the city. Let's go to Matthew 6 now. We're almost done. Matthew 6. Matthew 6 and verse 5. 6 and